the greatest, earliest and the latest. Niggas that tried to play us, wishing they never did. Trying to do me favors, seeing that I'm ahead. Blood of the struggle, walking over troubled puddles. Hustles on my chest, no hustle, no progress. Pieces to the puzzle when everything was a mess. I'm just trying to stay blessed, be better than all the rest.
Today's episode was brought to you by the Comfort Experts. See us for all your heating and air conditioning needs. For more information, visit onehouраircarolinas.com. That's onehouraircarolinas.com.
Gen Y, Gen X, Millennials, Generation Me, Generation Internet. You know who you are. You've been crushed, hit hard by this economy.
So if you're dealing with college debt, I mean, maybe you're even trying to move out of your parents' house or start a new business. Look, the only way you're going to be able to do that is to be able to produce and to get people to pay you what you're worth.
I'm fighting for your generation. I'm not counting you out. I believe in you. We're here to give young hustlers the advice and tools they need to succeed in the 21st century.
Hey, 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 happy Halloween. This is Young Hustlers. My name's Jared Glant. It's Thursday noon, East Coast Standard Time. And that means it's time to get the hustle on, to get the hustle on, to get the hustle strong, man. So look, this is GrantCardoneTV.com. Grant just came by the office with the, Grant. He just came by the office with the wife and the kids. They were trick-or-treating. It was a great time. And he and I got to talking just real briefly about our day yesterday. And obviously there's a lot been happening, presidential debate. We were in Atlanta, flying around, traveling all day, up early, here late. But before I get into the show, I just want to remind you, tweet, like, share, post, get social, comment in the show. Call in. We want to hear from you. 305-865-8668. Already got a couple callers waiting on hold. We'll get to you guys as soon as we can. Here? Yeah? All right. So 305-865-8668. We're here to answer your questions. Today's show is how you can avoid being broke. More importantly, why you're broke. Why are you broke right now? Are you a little short on money right now? Are you a little short on scratch? You a little low on flow, right? Well, this show is going to help you out, and the reason really for the show, Keith Dixon, thanks for popping in. Appreciate you always showing up here on time, ready to learn. The reason why this came up is because we were looking at the debates last night, and Grant and I were talking to each other while the debates were going on, and man, there was just so much that was happening that I was just completely oblivious to. I mean, like, for me personally, I mean, like, I'll show up and vote for the guy that I think can do the best job, but, I mean, I've kind of given up. Right? Like I really don't feel like I have any control over the government. I don't know if you guys do. I don't know if you feel like it impacts you. I mean, I know that insurance is more money for Sandy now. I feel that. Like I can feel the actual cost of it increasing. And maybe for a lot of you guys out there, you felt the same thing. But the big thing for me was when Chris Christie was talking about Social Security and how he was like, man, it's basically a bank full of IOUs. It's empty. And there's all these people who have worked their entire lives, right? People who thought that the middle class was the safe thing. You know, they've worked their entire life to get to the point where, you know, they can retire and they're expecting, you know, $1,500 a month, $1,800 a month, whatever it is from the government. And dude, it's not going to be there. I mean, talk about some issues. Talk about some problems. Elderly people who have banked on money their entire life, not being able to have access to it. It's going to be a problem. It's going to be a real problem. And so really what I want to talk about today is what you can do to break out of that cycle right now, what you can do to get ahead of the curve, what you could do to put yourself in a position where, dude, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter what the government's going to give you, what the government provides for me. You're really focusing and honing in on creating your own economy. And I'm going to go over some points, and you may have heard them before, but what I tried to do today is put a little different spin on them so that you can understand maybe just a little different dimension of something that you may have heard before. You know, Grant and I were traveling yesterday. We went and did a speaking gig, and I go with him on most of the speaking gigs that he does because we're always trying to find out what the other opportunity is. And the rooms are always full of salespeople. And when we leave, it's troubling. I mean, I'm only 32 years old now, and it's troubling to see all these people that are 50 and 60 years old that are making $50,000 or $60,000 a year. Now, I don't know about you, but that's not a life I want to live. I remember my economics teacher, she was from the Caribbean, and she would always be like, you don't want to have to work 9 to 5 until you're 65. You don't want to work 9 to 5 till you're 65. And dude, that stuck with me all the time. And that's what I want to talk about today is really like what you can do to break out, to get ahead. So I got 3 points, 3 topics I'm going to cover. Number 1, talking about time is money. I did a Periscope this morning, my tip from the whip, which I do every morning if you want to catch that. Working hard isn't enough, and then looking to learn from the people around you. So, like, again, back to the debates, like, which one of those people up on stage can fix our problem? I mean, like, I'm 32 years old. I have zero attention on government, on who the president is, who the Republican candidate's going to be. I've got zero attention on it because I've grown up in an era where I've seen how big government's gotten and how little control we have over anything that happens. So fortunately, or unfortunately maybe, I'm of the position that, hey, look, I've got to do something. I've got to create something. I can't rely on anything. It doesn't matter what legislation they put in place. It doesn't matter what taxes they put in place. Whatever I do in my life is going to be because of me. It's going to be because I decided to produce. I decided to create. I wasn't sitting, waiting, hoping, praying for something to happen that would positively impact me. I took a proactive approach and went out and made something happen. And that's really how millennials, that's how our generation is going to go out and succeed. Because it's gotten to a point where, like, what is the government anyways? Like, what do they do? I mean, who even knows? I don't know. I mean, it seems like they lie a lot. That's what all the Republican candidates were saying last night. We're being lied to. So, you know, how many times are you going to get lied to before you're like, hey, you know what? I'm just done. I'm going to do my own thing now. And so that's what I encourage you to do. Today, we're going to go over 3 different points and things that you can do to basically go the opposite direction, give up reliance on anything except yourself, and then give you a couple strategies on how you can maximize those 3 tips. We'll see you back when we get back from the break.
If you're interested in becoming an internet marketer, network marketer, internet entrepreneur, or business owner, pay attention to this offer. CPA, known as Cost Per Action, promotes offers to top companies via paid traffic platforms. Imagine positioning yourself as the dominant player in your industry all over the internet, with people seeking you out for job opportunities, your product, and your service, while increasing your income to over 6 figures in 9 months. The Millionaire Mastermind will show you how. Learn through us with step-by-step digital instructional programs, free weekly webinars, and 24/7 customer support. The Millionaire Mastermind is the go-to expert for all resources and training to thrive in this industry. And it all starts with our free 6 Figures to 9 Months webinar. Sign up for your free 6 Figures in 9 Months webinar at themillionairemastermind.com/6 figures. That's themillionairemastermind.com/6 figures. Owning a home has many elements that have to be looked after. One of the most important elements is comfort, and your heating and air conditioning is priority. That's why we stop at nothing to provide on-time service and expertise for all of your heating and cooling needs. We are the comfort experts. We have the solution for all of your trickiest heating and air conditioning needs. That's why we brought you our show, The Comfort Experts. Every week we bring you tips and tricks to improve your home and bring you peace of mind with our quality service tips for home heating and air conditioning maintenance. Visit OneHourAirCarolinas.com to tune into our weekly updates and services for your home improvement. That's OneHourAirCarolinas.com today. Are you looking for ways to raise funds to increase your local impact? If you're a nonprofit, church, civic group, school, or individual, Funds to Org Shoe Drive Fundraiser helps your cause raise funds while supporting micro enterprises in developing nations. Funds to Org provides at no charge the tools you need to create a successful, no-calorie fundraising event. Just engage your supporters to collect gently worn, used, and new shoes. We'll transport the collected shoes and issue a check back to you within 48 hours of processing. Sign up now at fundstoorgs.com. fundstoorgs.com. That's fundstoorgs.com. Are you
Boom, 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 boom. Back, Young Hustlers, Grant Cardone TV, Jared Glant, and we're talking about how not to be broke. The first tip, time is money. Now, this is something that we've all probably heard, more times than we can care to remember. But how often have you actually sat and thought about what that means, right? So obviously, if you work and you get paid for that, there is a time, a value associated with your time. Now, Grant made an unbelievable point that hit me like a freaking freight train yesterday in this presentation that he did. He was like, would you guys agree that time is money? Yes, everybody agrees. He goes, okay, how much inventory do you have? And then you could tell that people were kind of like trying to figure out, what he was saying. He said, how many hours do you have in a week? Now, I mean, I knew that because I had heard him go through this before, but I was like, I looked around and he said, who knows how many hours are in a week? And it was crickets. Nobody had a response. Nobody had an answer because nobody sat down to figure out, hey, how many how many hours are in a week? How many hours are in a day? How many hours in the week? 168 hours in a week. If time is money, when's the last time you took an inventory of that? When's the last time that you actually sat down and figured out, okay, how many hours per day do I have to be productive? Okay, that budget, that time budget. Who created your time budget? Was that time budget created for you by somebody else? Was it created by a boss who said you need to work 9 to 5? Was it created by parents who said you need to work Monday through Friday? Who was your time budget created by? If time is money and money is important, you need to have more control over it. You need to have more control over your time, and you need to understand how to maximize it. I'm going to give you an example here. How you can create more time, right? How you can create more income for yourself using time. So let's say you make $80,000 a year. Okay, you're making $80,000 a year. That's about $6,800 a month, something like that. If you make $80,000 a year and you worked an extra hour every single day, if you came in a half hour early and you stayed a half hour late, you did that every single day for 5 days a week. Okay, you'd have an extra 5 hours per week. All right. 5 hours per week gets you an extra 260 hours per year. Now, if you're making $80,000 a year, you're making about $1,600 a week. Okay, so per year, you're working an extra 6.5 weeks simply by coming in a half hour early and staying a half hour late. It's an extra $10,000 per year. It's over a 10% increase in your income by simply coming in a half hour early and staying a half hour later. Okay. Now, if you know anything about GC time, if you know about what he did when he was like, hey, look, I got to break out of this average pack, this middle pack. All I did was duplicate what he did. I created more time. Time is money, remember? Who creates the budget? I'm creating the budget. Okay? So I started coming in really early. I started coming in at 6:30 in the morning when we were out in California, and I started staying until 7:30 at night. I started working on the weekends. Okay? If you back the math out and you do this, if you added 2 hours per day, you came in an hour early, stayed an hour late, and you added an extra day, the impact over the year would be $40,000 a year in income. You'd go from $80,000 a year to $120,000. You'd increase your income 50% by coming in an hour early and staying an hour later and creating an extra day. You want to be 50 making 50K? You want to be 60 making 50K? Operate with the same time basis that you've been operating off of. Operate off of somebody else's time budget that they created for you, that they thought was going to be successful, but it doesn't work. We're seeing that right now. I mean, how many of you are 25, 26 years old, maybe 20 years old, maybe 30 years old, and you're seeing the 9 to 5 thing not work? How many of you are seeing the 9 to 5 thing, $40,000, $50,000 a year? How many of you is that not working for? If you're like 3/4 of the people in this country, then you're living paycheck to paycheck. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work. So if you want to avoid being broke, if you want to stop relying on what's happening or who gets elected, frankly, I don't give a shit who's elected. It's not going to affect me one way or the other. Because I've taken responsibility for everything that I do. I know for sure that when I show up every day, it doesn't matter who's the president of the United States. Because I show up to produce. I show up to work. I show up to help the people in my office. I show up to create my own economy. You know, if things are good, great. If they're bad, you know what? We know we're hungry. We know we can scrap here. We know how to go out and create and produce all on our own. I want to jump to a phone call real quick. Miguel from Jacksonville. Miguel, what's happening? Welcome to the show.
Jared, it's good to hear you hosting the show on your own, bro. You're doing a great job, man.
I know, man. I'm holding it down. I'm holding it down. Hey, let me ask you a question. Have you given up on government?
Oh, more than you can believe it, man.
Right?
I believe politicians are the best salespeople.
Right? No kidding, right? Looks like they've been reading some of Grant Cardone stuff, huh?
Yeah, you know, I've kind of looked at Donald. I like Donald Trump for being a businessman. I'm Mexican, and I do trust him, but at the same time, I believe in what you're saying. Take responsibility and be accountable for your own life.
Agree 100%, man. Did you have a question when you called in?
I do have a question for you.
What's up?
Basically, when you're running your business, when Grant and you are running your sales team, and you realize your team's not moving as fast as they should be, or their goals are, I guess, they're not putting in the effort to hit their goals. What is something you guys do to, I guess, get your team going? Or I'm not more motivation, but fundamentals. Do you guys do anything specifically to get your team going?
You know, we're pretty responsive. So everybody's pretty focused, goal focused here. Like that's one of the things we've built in. So we know, I mean, I could walk around the room and ask somebody what their goals are and they can recite them. It's not there's no lag in communication. It's not this like, well, you know, it might be nice if I can make 150 grand this year. Everybody's pretty clearly set on their goals. When we start looking at measuring activity, what we really have to do is we have to tighten up our execution. So that means more phone checks throughout the day. Hey, how many calls are we at? How many demos are we at? How many appointments are we at? How many follow-up calls has management made? It really becomes the leadership's job to get tighter with execution. So whenever we kind of hit a lull, like if we were at half the production we are right now, I'd be like, okay, hey, what do we know? What's out? Okay. The first thing I'd do is I'd say, hey, look, either me or our inside sales director, Todd, we're doing every presentation. Like I'm going to go back in and take control back over and find out if something's out, right? Because I know that I can pitch the program and sell it. And so if there's something wrong with the leads, and I go in and I pitch the deals and I'm finding out that something's wrong with the leads, then we know what the problem is. So it's really getting at the management level, taking more control and getting tight with execution, and then even going back down to, okay, hey, maybe I need to get involved in every presentation. So I hope that helped. Let's go to Roy from Pittsburgh. Roy from Pittsburgh, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Jared. So glad to finally be on here. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. It's good to have you. Hey, have you given up on the government yet?
I gave up on it as soon as I got the right to vote.
My man, I love that. I love that. Hey, Roy, give me 1 second. We're going to drop out to a break. When we come back, I want to give you an opportunity to ask your questions. We're here on Young Hustlers, GrantCardoneTV.com.
Thanks.
If you want success in business and in life, you must learn to sell. It's a way of life. You learn to predict outcomes, you help your customers, and you take massive action. Available now is New York Times best-selling author Grant Cardone's Sell or Be Sold package that gives you everything you need to know to get your way in business and in life. Get the hard copy Axiom Business Award-winning book, the 15-CD audio program, video digital quick read, the Sell or Be Sold MP3 with over 20 hours of content, the Sell or Be Sold workbook and trainer's manual, and a never-before-seen 3.5-hour Sell or Be Sold seminar delivered by Grant Cardone, available for you to watch on demand 24/7. This over $1,200 value is available right now for only $199. Get your package at grantcardone.com/sellerbesold. That's grantcardone.com/sellerbesold.
We're rebuilding America one roof at a time due to hail and wind damage, and I'm here to bring you the roofing sales opportunity. I am the very best on the planet at implementing success. My business isn't easy. This is going to be a tough job. You're going to get kicked in the stomach, but at the end of the day, this is the easiest sell in America. Are you willing to go to the dojo, to get strong, to learn the moves, to learn how to sell $100,000 worth of commissions in free hail damage roof replacements? I had 4 sales reps make over $200,000. When the hailstorm hits, you must be willing to travel. You must have a little bit of money in your pocket to get through the first 3 weeks. But if you give me 1 year commitment, I can promise you that I give you the steps to make $250,000 in your first year in the business.
I want the best, and I will hire the best. Send your 60-second video resume to CertifiedRoofingProfessionals.com. That's CertifiedRoofingProfessionals.com.
All right. We're back. Young hustlers talking about how not to be broke, how to take control of your situation, take control of your finances. We started out with time, baby. How much time do you really have? Guess what? You have the same amount of time as the President of the United States. You have the same amount of time as Warren Buffett. You have the same amount of time as Grant Cardone. But what are you doing with it? You using their budget? Or are you using some budget that was made up by somebody that you didn't even know, who probably didn't have half of what you want out of life? We got Roy on the phone from Pittsburgh. Roy, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Good deal, brother. Thanks for hanging on. So what was your question?
So I know this is jumping a little bit ahead, but I have a question about your third tip, which was watch the people around you.
Yeah.
Something like that? Yeah. Okay, so I'm in college, and the people around me are my drunk fraternity brothers. And, you know, I live with 7 of them, and I'm trying to grow a business. I'm trying to not be broke, but when I'm surrounded by that many people, it's always like, oh, let's go to the bar, drop $20 every night. And I really want to get out of that environment, but it's so hard. I still have a year left. And do you have any tips for me?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, there's a lot of places that you can go that aren't at home. And then you just got to build the discipline to say no, man. When I moved to LA, I had a handful of friends that I ended up hanging out with, and they had something going on every night of the week. I mean, it was like, hey, let's go do this, let's go see this show, let's go to this event, let's do that. And I was like, dude, I just can't. I mean, and the stuff was so cool, it sounded so awesome. Hey, we're going to a party at so-and-so's house up in the Hollywood Hills. And I'm like, I got to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning because I got to do a sales meeting. And if I'm drunk, if I'm tired, if I'm hungover, if I'm not ready, dude, it's going to show. And at a certain point, you just got to make the decision. What's more important for you? Getting where you want to go out of life, or going and getting the immediate satisfaction of going out? You got to learn to say no, man. That fear of missing out, that FOMO, you got to brush that down the road, man. You got to make an investment every single day in where you want to go. I had this trick that I used to do, and I still do it with some things, like especially when I don't want to do something that I know is the right thing to do. Like last night, we left, woke up at 4:15 in the morning, and went to Atlanta, did our deal up there. By the time we landed back in Miami at the airport, had to drive, pick up the car, it was like 3:30 or 4 o'clock. I think it was like 3:30. And I had, the ability, I could have called in and just said, hey, you know what, I was up early, I'm just going to go finish the day from home, and I may have been half as productive, who knows, right? But instead, I was like, okay, hey, look, this is an opportunity right now. What would Grant Cardone do? What would a super successful person do? They wake up at 4 o'clock and travel all the time. What would they do? Dude, they'd go try to maximize the rest of the day that they had. So I came back into the office, and I didn't just work till 6 when the office closed. I didn't leave here till after 7. So it's like I have the ability to say, hey, that's the right thing to do, but I don't want to do it. But I'm going to do it anyways because I know it's the right thing to do. And so when you're in those situations where you have those tough choices of, hey, look, should I go out? Should I do the social thing? Or, dude, I'm getting focused on doing the right thing right now. I'm getting focused on doing something that's going to bring me forward, not bring me back. So maybe you can develop that muscle. I hope you can. It's something that I used to help me. Hope that helps.
Thanks, man.
All right, brother. Have a good one. So, okay, first thing we talked about was time, being the creator of your budget for time, okay, not operating by somebody else's. The second point is working hard isn't enough. So just showing up and working hard isn't enough. People talk a lot about, oh yeah, hey, work an extra hour here, work an extra hour there, like I just said. But that in and of itself is not enough unless you're adding skill, unless you're growing, unless you're developing yourself, unless you're improving your marketability, unless you're bringing something new to the table every single day. Like, you need to be focused on your development outside of the workplace, right? So, we talk a lot about the difference between education and training. Like, I could go read a book about sales, but training would be doing the reps and the role play of actually working out the skill that I picked up. And a lot of people think educating themselves is enough by itself, or a lot of people think training by itself is enough, but it's not. You need them both. You need to focus on it all the time. Okay? You need to, if somebody asks you, hey, what book are you reading right now? You should, without a second response or a second delay, be able to respond and say, hey, I'm reading Blue Ocean Strategy right now, or I'm reading The Personal MBA, or I'm reading The Ultimate Sales Machine, or whatever book you're reading. You need to be focused continually on developing yourself. It sounds so silly, right? It sounds so easy. I heard Dave Robards on a call one day. He said, you know, somebody once said that the easiest things to do are also the easiest things not to do, right? Like writing your goals down every day. It's so simple to take 2 minutes and write out your goals. And the easier that is, the easier it's going to be not to do it, okay? So, dude, pick up a book, educate yourself, figure out where you can go, and that kind of leads me to my last point of the day, which is, you know, the people that you hang out with, the people you associate yourself with. Now, I wanted to bring this up because this is something, again, that you've heard before, but I want to give you a different way to think about it. The people that you hang out with don't have to be these super successful people. I don't have to learn everything from Grant or Bob Duggan or you know, whoever. I don't need to be around a multi-millionaire to learn something, okay? So figure out the people in your area, in your space that you can learn something from, right? They can be peers, okay? So for example, like Tyler, Grant's real estate analyst. Dude, I learn stuff from him all the time, okay? You know, he's not this super successful multi-millionaire. He's a friend. He's approachable. We play golf. You know, I learned stuff from him. Hopefully he learns stuff from me. You know, my girl, she's all into health and wellness right now. She's, you know, getting exercise plans and cooking all these, you know, healthy recipes and talking about, you know, how certain things affect your body in certain ways. I'm still not drinking Diet Coke, baby, because you told me it was bad for me. I'm learning about organization and management from Sherry, right? Like learning about how to keep things in order, right? How to manage personalities in an office and make the right decisions. I learn from her every day. My buddy Jeff Stark, he's in real estate insurance. Dude, I learn stuff from him all the time. Hopefully he learns stuff from me. We're out playing golf. We're out hanging out with our significant others. Hopefully I'm learning something from him. A buddy of mine, Brandon Bernanson, has a company, a startup company, an enterprise technology company. All right, dude, I learn about a lot of things digital from him. Jeremy in the office, our entire digital staff. I learned stuff from Robert. You know, he comes over and teaches me stuff about video that I didn't know about, right? Like, I look for every opportunity to learn something. So you have to keep your eyes open and you have to be aware for all these people around you. They don't have to be a Grant Cardone to teach you something, okay? It's an extra brain that thinks differently than you do, that has different interests than you, that probably knows things that you don't know better than you do. Master those opportunities. Find out who those people are, identify those people around you, and then do everything you can to glean information from them. You know, startups and scaling a business. I got a buddy of mine, his name's James. He starts businesses. He goes in and he takes businesses and he takes them from small to really big. So I'm learning stuff from him. So who are those people, right? So I gave you 3 things today, right? I gave you, you know, managing your time, budgeting your time, being a master of your time, okay? I gave you, you know, the learning from the people around you, and then I gave you develop yourself. Dude, this isn't rocket science, guys. It's not rocket science. I'm not a really smart person. I'm not highly intelligent. I wasn't dealt a hand that you know, that set me up to be successful. What I was just open, and I was ready to learn, and I was open to it, and I tried to learn from people around me. I tried to be positive, right? So just take some time and try to figure that out, okay? Budget your time. Have a schedule. Do you even have a schedule for yourself? I didn't for the longest time. I operated every day just kind of like shooting from the hip, just showing up, kind of doing the routine thing. I saw somebody post on Instagram, they said every 2 months you should start a new skill, right? Like every 2 months you should commit to learning something brand new, a language or a hobby. Like every 2 months you need to go and try something new because it gets you experiences, right? It enriches you. You get connected with people that you can learn and develop yourself from. But it all starts with knowing that you're the one responsible for everything. You are in control of this thing, nobody else. Not the government, not your parents, not your socioeconomic backgrounds, your humble beginnings, whatever. People bust that stuff out every single day, right? Every single day people are coming in and they're creating something out of nothing. I just want to give a shout out here. Hold on. Jonathan Langora on the chat feed here says, hey, I got a question for you. What are some techniques that you've used to really start thinking in terms of abundance? like getting rid of the idea that your product is a lot of money. I've grown up around scarcity living, not enough, no money type of environment, and I'm trying to move away, but it's so ingrained. So this is, there's a couple answers to your question here, Jonathan, and that's a great question. So like I'll use a story about Grant. So Grant grew up, and he tells the story when he speaks a lot. You know, when he was being raised, his mom used to make dinner, and she'd always used to say, eat that all, eat it all, turn the lights off, you know, that coupon cutting that whole deal. And now what he does is whenever we go eat somewhere, he always leaves food on his plate. I don't even really know if it's because he's full and he's had his you know, he's satisfied. I think it may just be to remind himself that there's no scarcity. If he's hungry, he can get another food, another meal, right? He doesn't have to eat it all. He can take 2 sips out of a Diet Coke and put it down. He can pull out a $35 cigar and smoke a quarter of it and throw it out. I see him do these things, and I'm convinced after being around him long enough that I think they're things that he just does to remind himself that there's an abundance and there's not a scarcity. The second thing that you asked about was that your product is a lot of money. Now, I don't know what product you sell, but for us here, what we do is we just go into, hey, what is the benefit of the product, right? So, you know, we sell a sales training product. So in our products, let's just say $2,000 a month. So we'll say, hey, our product's $2,000 a month. What we'll do is we'll go look not only at client successes, but what's the real opportunity. So if we're talking to an average sales staff and they have 10 salespeople, right? And if they all were just average, right? They were all average. Nobody was great. Nobody was horrible. They were all average. And we put a program in place that will help them make phone calls, make cold calls, right? Answer incoming calls, be able to prospect for new business, better understand the sales process, become stronger in the close, become a master at follow-up, understand everything about what it takes to be motivated on a daily basis, understand everything about what it takes to be successful as a salesperson, understand personal finances, understand internet leads, understand everything about sales. Is there an opportunity for each of those salespeople to get one more deal every month? They're all average. We train them every single day. We have phone calls once a week. We're having monthly support review calls, right? They're jumping on monthly webinars. They get ingrained in what we do. Is there an opportunity to get one more deal? 99% of the time, the answer is yes. A realistic yes, okay? Well, what's a deal worth? We make $2,000 on a deal. We make $10,000 on a deal. If you make $2,000 on a deal, you got 10 salespeople. One extra deal a month is $20,000 a month. Get logical about it, man. Would you spend 2 to make 20? I'd sign up for that every day of the week. All right, so you got to do things that help you understand. Think about all the stupid stuff that people spend money on. You know, we talk to highly successful people, and we'll ask them, hey, when was the last time you spent 20 grand? Oh, me and my wife, you know, we rented a yacht down in the Caribbean, and we went around, you know, it was 80 grand for the week. Dude, we're talking about 20 grand for the year for your people so that they can go out, they can produce, and get you an even bigger boat next time, right? Give yourself logical comparisons, right? I think that'll help you out. I know it helps us out a lot. And then also use success stories, right? So we have salespeople. We had a customer send in a deal. They had a 2,900% ROI on our program and the investment they made with us off of one salesperson. They spent 20 grand for the year. That salesperson generated $530,000 in revenue, extra revenue for the company. It's hard to say that money's a big issue when you hear stories like that, right? So, look, I hope this helped today, guys. The bottom line from here, take away from this, you are in 100% control. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about anything else. Who's in office, you know, what your background is, what your mom did or dad didn't do. It doesn't matter. You have a new page that you can, a new book and a new chapter and a new book and a new page today you can start. You just have to make the decision, right, that you're in control, that you're the one responsible for it, and you can go out and create whatever you want. So I hope you got something from here. Remember the points. Number 1, budget your time. Number 2, develop yourself. And number 3, surround yourself with people you can learn from, and they don't have to be multimillionaires to do it. And remember, the only ones that condemn the hustle are the ones that have given up on the hustle themselves. Go out and have a great weekend, guys. We'll see you next time.
Today's episode was brought to you by the Comfort Experts. See us for all your heating and air conditioning needs. For more information, visit onehouраircarolinas.com. That's onehouraircarolinas.com.